The closer it gets to spring, the more I find it hard to be inside. Like, it's just getting harder and harder to be inside at night, especially. We still got all this snow and it's so cold still, but it warmed up today enough to start to melt the snow, just enough on the top layer so it'll freeze over. But it was actually warm enough I could go stand outside in the sun today wearing just my tank top and sweatpants, and it was perfectly warm in the sunbeam. But there's just something about the nighttime sky that I've never been able to keep my eyes off of. And I wish you all could see my sky as well as I can see it, but the camera just doesn't pick it up. So we'll stare at the snow, watch it freeze. But the more I start learning about my nervous system and all the different things that affect it, the more patterns I start tracking. I don't know, as much as it makes sense more and more, and you know, I can take steps to mitigate the symptoms more and more clarity I get, also the more frustrated I get, because sometimes it just seems so simple. There's just so much trauma, emotional, physical, whatever, over a lifetime that is stored in your body that you don't even realize at the time that it's actually a traumatic event. You know, that's why they're starting to realize that there's a difference. You know, there's not just PTSD, there's complex PTSD, CPTSD, where, you know, things over time build up and traumatize you, and then you can have both together. And you know, the more sick you are, the more often you're sick, just everything, the more it dysregulates your nervous system, and your nervous system, your body, your mind, everything forms its own new hardwiring. You know, they talk about neuroplasticity and how you can rewire your brain. And it's true, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of intentional work. And it's hard work, but as hard as it is, it also brings a lot more peace. And the more you understand yourself and the things around you that are actually affecting you, the more you can be aware sooner, so you can start to regulate yourself sooner and slowly rewire that pattern. Just like building new habits. It's, you know, but I'm realizing now that it's, you know, wanting to see the nighttime sky isn't just about loving the nighttime sky, loving stars. You know, it's always, you know, I've always looked up at the sky. But it goes so much deeper than that. It's orienting, it's clearing. I went for years and years and years sitting inside my house, you know, what's supposed to be my safe place. Feel like I'm being fried and cooked from the inside, slowly and then more intensely over time. And even though I would go outside and immediately feel clearer, it still took a long time, you know, to make that connection. Because when you're in fight or flight constantly, and you don't realize that you're just kind of always in it, even if nothing really seems to be kind of going on, it's running in the background because you haven't started to re-regulate yourself out of it. But I started a few years ago making the connection between electronics and Wi-Fi and, hell, even the solar flares and geomagnetic activity, which is a documented phenomenon. Lots of people are so sensitive to that stuff. And a lot of people don't even realize it. I didn't realize it until a few years ago. And then, you know, you start getting clarity on one thing here and a couple things there. Start connecting dots, and then it's almost like all of a sudden your entire life makes sense. But the more clarity and peace I get, also the more frustrated I get, because it seems so simple. But this world is set up to be fast, always online, you know, just being in front of the TV screen. It's like standing alone in a movie theater against the TV screen with the light blaring on you. And there's times where my senses get mixed up. The light's too bright, it's loud. If something's loud, it's bright. And, you know, you just get that static feeling in your body. You see it in the air, you hear it, you can taste it. But I get why there's entire towns where it's illegal to have Wi-Fi and stuff like that. I really do. Sometimes I just wish I could go move out into the middle of the woods next to an open field with a lake. So, as cold as it is right now, it's not as cold as it has been. And it's finally getting to the point in the season that I can go outside for a little bit and stare at the night sky, get the fresh air. And the more peace in my body I get, the more I can tolerate the cold. Although I'm sure you can tell in my voice I'm starting to shiver. But and it's like I don't even want to go back inside because, you know, after we went for a walk just a little bit ago, felt immediate clarity coming outside. As soon as we walked back in the house, it was like I was being fried. So it was all I could do to just be anywhere. And I notice, you know, a lot of it feels worse once the sun starts going down and, you know, like the sun isn't there to burn off all the extra stuff. But as soon as that transition hits and then the night hits, sometimes it just gets really loud and staticky. It'll go in and do what I need to do to feel better inside. So give yourself a chance to slow down, get away from all the noise, even if it's just for a little bit. Y'all stay shiny.